Supply chain strategies come in many varieties. Choosing the right one is the trick. Having decided what to outsource, there are 6 different sourcing strategies that managers need to consider. The first strategy is many supplier. In the many supplier strategy, the firm generates a RFQ, request for quotation, and the contract is awarded to the lowest bidder. It is quite common when you are purchasing commodities, and the competition between the suppliers is quite aggressive because the burden on meeting the demands is on the supplier. Here, the focus is largely on cost, and long-term orientation is not taken into account because of the availability of many suppliers. The second strategy is of few suppliers. In the few supplier strategies, firms, instead of looking at the cost benefits or a short-term gain on lead times, they are more focused on building long-term relationships with a few key suppliers. Using few suppliers can create value for both the company and the supplier because the supplier can meet economies of scale, and it has a learning curve that can result into lower production cost and low transactional cost. Many companies have been following the few supplier strategies successfully. Ford chooses suppliers before making the product design. Motorola has placed an additional emphasis on quality and reliability. So they are not, although they do have a rigorous criteria to evaluate suppliers, but they often reject the lowest bid if they do not meet the quality and reliability criteria for them. As with all other strategies, there's a downside to this strategy too. With a few key suppliers, there's a high switching cost, which results in an increased risk of being captive of one another. Poor supplier performance is another risk, as it can happen that initially the supplier performance was satisfactory, but with the passage of time, the supplier took the buyer for granted and increased the quality level. So that is another risk that the purchaser carries. The purchaser must also be concerned about trade secrets, as the suppliers may have other buyers, and one of those buyers could be their competitor, the purchaser's competitor. So in that case, their trade secrets might not be safe with the supplier. The third one is vertical integration. It is developing the ability to produce a good or a service that was previously purchased, or acquiring a distributor or a supplier. Vertical integration can take form of forward or backward integration. If you take the example of Apple decided to manufacture their own semiconductors, so they acquired their supplier. They also are involved in forward integration, as they have their own retail outlets. Vertical integration works best when the organization has a large market share and the management capability to operate the acquired business successfully. Doing everything or vertical integration is difficult, and most organizations are suited to stick to their core specialty and leverage on the supply chain partners' contributions. Fourth is joint venture. Since vertical integration can be extremely risky and dangerous for companies, therefore they may opt for some form of formal collaboration in shape of joint ventures. Companies may decide to collaborate with their suppliers or partners, or even their competitors. In some cases, they want to collaborate with them because they want to secure supplies, reduce the supply cost, or they want to enhance their technological skills. Many large Japanese manufacturers have found another strategy, which is our fifth strategy, that is called Keratsu. It is part collaboration, it is part purchasing from few key suppliers, it is part vertical integration. In this strategy, these manufacturers are financial supporters of the suppliers through either ownership or loans. The supplier becomes a part of company coalition known as Keiretsu. Members of Keiretsu are assured long-term relationships and because of those long-term commitments, they are treated as partners, and they are expected to share technical expertise and a stable production quality, as well as production capacity. And finally, last but not the least, the sixth sourcing strategy: virtual companies. Virtual companies rely on good, stable supplier relationships based on providing service on demand. Suppliers can provide a variety of services such as hiring personnel, designing products, conducting quality inspections, manufacturing products, and even distributing the products. The biggest advantage of virtual companies is that with low capital, you can have specialized management expertise, flexibility, speed, and the end result is efficiency.